Hello, friends. I'm Carole Baumann from the Creation Justice team at Mayflower Congregational Church, here during Earth Day week to share an opportunity for you to support a better environment for the state of Montana. This brief talk is an opportunity for you to learn about the Montana Climate Solution Council's preliminary recommendations, and if you'd like, to comment by this Friday, April 24th. At the conclusion, we'll display a page showing, and throughout the talk, we'll display a page that shows you where you can read more or comment on the plan. Now, here to explain this plan is Mary Fitzpatrick. Mary is a longtime resident of Billings. She served on the governor's Climate Change Advisory Committee from 2006 to 2007, and as a public member on the Environmental Quality Council for the legislative sessions in 2009, 2011, and 13. She currently works for a realistic response to climate change through the Citizens Climate Lobby and Northern Plains Resource Council. Mary, thanks for being with me and explaining this plan. Welcome.
Well, thanks for putting this together, Carole. Okay, Governor Bullock earlier this year created the Montana Climate Solutions Council and to study and make recommendations for how Montana can respond to the problem of climate change. And the good news is that in addition to helping Montana prepare for climate change, it's also following these recommendations would mean creating a lot of jobs, growing Montana's economy, improving our quality of life and public health. So there's a lot to be said for these recommendations, and we're hoping that you'll say something about them. We are asking you to comment on this draft report, and we're going to tell you how to do that. Could we put the slide up, please, Carole? These comments are due by April 24th. You can do it online very quickly, and there you see the address. It's a simple email. You can phrase it any way you want. It's the climatecouncil@mt.gov. That's all you need to have, climatecouncil@mt.gov, and then write your comments, and you should sign them. But your comments, you don't have to be an expert on any of these subjects to comment. You can just say that you are concerned about climate change and you want to see Montana doing something about it. And why even that kind of a comment is important is the next governor and the next legislature need to know that there's people out here that have looked at this plan and that want to see it implemented. So that's what we're going to ask you to do. And that's enough. If you want to make a more specific comment, thanks for taking that down. If you want to make a more specific comment, I'm going to tell you some more about this draft report and how you can learn more about it. But the most important thing is that our government hears from you. Okay, the membership of the council included state agency representatives, county, tribal agency representatives, industry groups, nonprofit groups, academics. So they had a wide range of expertise and interest in on the panel that worked on these recommendations. In the report, they show you very clearly which recommendations were agreed to unanimously, which was the vast majority of them, and where it was not unanimous, they tell you something about what the concerns were that the dissenters had. That's if you want to dig in a little deeper. So if we could have the slide back again, the recommendations fall into 3 areas, which Carole has put on our slide. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit about each area and give you an example or two. There are many examples actually within each one. Okay. So the first area is preparing Montanans for climate impacts. And this means that in order to actually prepare and plan, there needs to be a way and somebody with the responsibility to translate scientific knowledge into usable information that people on the ground can use. That would be ranchers and farmers, and of course, county and local officials and tribal officials. Everybody needs to say, okay, if this is how the science says it, what do we need to do? And so that's what these recommendations aim at creating the structures, the organizational structures that will make the plans and will implement the plans, and then will monitor the results. And that's what this set of recommendations aims at. So an example of what they try to address, and they're all very different, so this is only one that can't capture the whole area, but protecting Montana's water quality and quantity is going to be a problem with climate change. So we'll want to have plans for how to do that in all the different ways that Montana acquires and uses water. So that's area one. If we can have that up again, please, Carol. Area two is a bunch of recommendations for reducing our greenhouse gas emissions. And these also touch on many different areas of Montana's economy. And but all of them are aimed at reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Now, directly, this doesn't, make things better necessarily for Montana, but we do need to reduce our contribution to global greenhouse gas emissions. And at the same time, there's a lot of jobs, a lot of improvement in our air quality and public health that comes out of these recommendations. So a couple of examples from this area would be to promote energy efficiency through on-bill financing. On-bill financing means that your utility provider pays for you to, say, insulate your house, and you pay it back with a small increment on your monthly bill. And the increment that you pay, the extra that you pay each month, is always less than what you're saving by having insulated your house. And the same goes for any other improvements. And what that does is it means you don't have to go out and borrow money. You can get it right from your co-op or your utility, and you don't have to put up a down payment, and you don't have to go through the borrowing hassle, and you just pay it back month by month. And if you sell the property, then the new owner will just pick up those payments as well. So that's on-bill financing. A second particular recommendation under the reducing greenhouse gas emissions area is to encourage expanded community solar and shared solar. And there are other things that reference solar energy, like raising the cap on how much you can use in net metering. But shared solar could mean a whole community that gets together and builds a solar installation, and you buy shares yourself in that installation. Or it could just mean some neighbors, and for example, who decide to share a solar installation because it's cheaper if it's larger. So those are two of many recommendations for reducing greenhouse gas emissions in Montana. The third area, can I have the slide again, please? And the third area is about all of the innovations that's going to be needed to address climate change. And this is really a great opportunity for upping the Montana economy and also acquiring new skills for workers. And we also have to take care of the workers and communities that are being displaced or having to make major changes because of moving away from fossil fuels, which of course is has to happen if we're going to reduce our emissions. So again, a lot of job opportunities, economic growth, and a better quality of life can result from following these recommendations. So an example there would be to prepare the workforce for opportunities in a changing world. These aren't just more jobs, it's new jobs, new kinds of jobs, better paid jobs, often technology jobs, although the trades will always be there building stuff. So those are the three areas that the plan covers. All of the recommendations are listed in the last 2 pages of the report, and you can see the report at that second blue line, deq.mt.gov/plan. DEQ is the Department of Environmental Quality. It's a very important Montana state agency. Most states have a Department of Environmental Quality. Maybe all of them. It's probably required by the EPA. But you can read the report. If you just want to glance through the last 2 pages and look at the list of all the recommendations, if there's one that especially interests you, all you have to do is click on it, and it will take you to the place in the report where it's described in more detail. So you don't have to go thumbing your way through a 37-page report. It's all online and you can look at it. Also, at that same website, deq.mt.gov/plan, you can find the documents that support these recommendations. One of the most important is the Montana Climate Assessment of 2017, and it describes the climate outlook for Montana, which is very interesting, very readable, and it's there. So are some other documents that informed the work of this council. So in summary, this whole report is meant to guide Montana toward a realistic response to climate change. And it's right now, it's out for public comment. That's you and me. It's very important that they hear from us. You can just give the general comment that I suggested earlier. You can comment on a specific recommendation, and you can suggest recommendations that they did not make. For instance, Carole and I both belong to Citizens Climate Lobby, and we are interested in seeing a carbon fee and dividend, which there's no mention of that in these recommendations. It would have to be done on the federal level, but what it means is we have a gradually increasing price on carbon, carbon dioxide emissions. And the money doesn't go to the government, it comes back to us as a dividend. Not too different from the payments that most of us are getting, during this coronavirus pandemic. And that is to help offset the fact that when we buy fuel, we are paying more for it, to heat our homes, drive our cars, and even in the things that we buy. So things will get more expensive, and then we get the dividend back. About more than, depending on the plan, about 78% of homes will get more in dividends than they actually are cost by the price on carbon. There are several carbon fee and dividend bills in the Congress now. And again, with the election coming up, it's something to think about when you're voting, as does the candidate support doing this. If you want to see something like that, you can mention that in your comments on this council recommendations. Just say you want to see the Montana delegation to be asked to support some carbon fee and dividend plan in the Congress. So that is pretty much what we want you to know. Go and make as short or as long of a comment on this plan. The important thing is that our government knows that you're interested, it's important to you, and you want to see something done. So thanks for listening. And Carole, if I missed anything, this is your chance to add it, I guess.
I think you covered everything that I was thinking of, Mary. Thank you so much for explaining all of this and giving us an opportunity to learn and even to comment on the Montana Climate Solutions Council's plan. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Goodbye.